Welcome back to Runiverse. I'm Andrew, and in this video I'm playing Marvel Champions. This is the third scenario of the Mutant Genesis campaign, so if you want to check out the first two scenarios, you can. The link will be in the description. Otherwise, today I have Jean Grey Phoenix and Peter Rasputin Colossus facing off against Master Mold. So previously we beat Project Wide Awake, which was, I guess, the first Sentinel scenario. This is the second Sentinel scenario, I guess, focused more on Master Mold. So let's take a look at the comic for this scenario. It's a Sentinel coming after a mutant, I guess. Rogue is saving them, saying, "Go on, sugar, get out of here." Magneto? "You X-Men have done well to protect our fellow mutants tonight, but this attack is just the first of many unless we destroy the Sentinel production facility. And you know where that is?" "Indeed. So you want us to join forces with you and your Brotherhood?" "The enemy of my enemy is a friend, Cyclops. The Sentinels are a threat to all us mutants." "All right, Magneto, lead the way." The marauding Sentinels have been destroyed thanks in part to Magneto's surprise assistance. The Master of Magnetism reveals that he has discovered the secret location of the Sentinel factory and suggests he and the X-Men join forces to defeat their common foe. Angered and dismayed by the brazen attack against their fellow mutants, the X-Men agree and follow Magneto to the factory. So first up, I guess we should take a look at Master Mold. I'll be playing on the standard difficulty, fighting against Master Mold 1 and then Master Mold 2. He has 1 scheme, 2 attack, Stalwart, which I think that's the one where it requires 2 stunned or confused statuses for it to stick, and toughness, so we've already marked that. First time he takes damage, that will be negated. And when he schemes, instead of getting a boost card, you mill the encounter deck until you hit a Sentinel, and it engages you. So the threat is not going to be going up as much on the main scheme, I guess. This is my first time playing, but he'll be throwing a lot of Sentinels out if you let your guard down. And then we're going to be in the Sentinel factory is the main scheme here. Each Sentinel has guard, so as long as we have a Sentinel in front of us, we cannot fight Master Mold because he is blocking, or they're blocking for him. And when revealed, each player mills until they hit a Sentinel and put into play. So we both have a Sentinel for Phoenix and Colossus. Also to the campaign, we have the Find the Prisoners side scheme, which is going to, during setup, we had to put one of the allies from our own deck into that side scheme. But when we defeat the side scheme, we'll have the opportunity to rescue those prisoners, although we'll also add more future past encounters into the encounter deck. We already have 2 from the first 2 scenarios mixed in, but none of them have come out yet. We also have Jubilee because she wasn't defeated in the previous scenario, and Magneto is part of the encounter. So Jubilee is part of the campaign because we still had her in play at the end of the Sentinels scenario, and Magneto is just part of this setup. Oh, and these cards should not be out for Colossus. Those were just me planning my turn and setting up the view for the camera. So Phoenix we saw last scenario, but basically she has this restrained trait along with the Phoenix Force card that she starts with in play. If we spend all these encounter tokens as resources in her hero form, which she has that ability, she will flip to her unrestrained or unleashed form, which can be powerful but also potentially dangerous if we hit her nemesis, the Dark Phoenix. And then this one is new for my series here. We switched out for Colossus. Well, switching characters is actually not allowed in the campaign rules, but I wanted to be able to show off as many characters as we can. So Colossus, it plays around with tough statuses. So this is my first time against Master Mold. This is also my first time with Colossus. I'm playing a deck which is an aggression build I found on the Marvel CDB website, user-generated content. I'll have a link to that deck list. I think I mostly stuck to that, except for that I added some cards with the role feature of this campaign, where each character gets to choose a role and add in an upgrade and an event from a different aspect, potentially. And there's another extra feature we'll look at in a second. So Colossus gets to be tough every time he becomes Colossus. And in Peter Rasputin, his alter ego form, he starts with an organic steel in his hand as an extra card. And you can also add Colossus cards back into your deck. So let's go ahead and do these role cards. So Phoenix is a defender, meaning she uses justice and protection cards. 2 defender cards have already been consumed this campaign, so those are out. So for the other 3, I'm going to roll a d20, and on 1 through 6 will be that one, 7 through 12, and then I'll re-roll 19 or 20. 5 is going to be surprise. So she gets to start with this in play, and after she thwarts, she can remove 3 threat from among enemies in play, or from among schemes in play, and confuse an enemy, and then remove this card from the game and the campaign pool. So that's what's happened to the previous 2. So she's going to get that one down here. And Colossus is going to be a brawler, so that's a mix of aggression and protection. We haven't used any of those yet. So Now this is also weird because I'm switching characters, I'm also switching decks and roles. You're not supposed to be able to change out roles, but again, breaking the rules a little bit for the sake of trying out a variety of content. We'll do 1 through 4, 5 through 8, etc. 4 is Warcry. So Colossus has the ability that he can generate 2 wild resources for an attack or defense event and become tough, and then get that card out of the campaign. We'll put that over here with him. And then I think we're good to start. So Magneto has the ability that when he attacks and defeats a Sentinel, he heals 1. So he doesn't have to take that consequential damage as long as he's beating up Sentinels. Jubilee can attack or thwart for 1 with 1 consequential damage, or we can spend an energy on her to let her use her pyrotechnics and deal 2 damage with no consequential damage. And both of those have the ability that they are controlled by the first player. So as we pass back and forth, they will move around between Phoenix and Colossus. So Phoenix will be the first player, and I'm going to start out by playing Phoenix Suit, which is an upgrade that gives her the aerial trait. And as long as she's restrained, she has steady. Oh, I was wrong. Master Mold has stalwart, which means he cannot be stunned or confused. Phoenix now, due to Phoenix Suit, has steady, which means it takes 2 of those statuses to kick in. So we'll put that into play for her. I'm going to go ahead and pay 2 resources for that. I think I'll switch the positions of these just for my own aesthetic sensibilities. Then I'm going to change once per turn. We can change forms. So I'll change from Jean Grey Alter Ego into Phoenix, the hero form. And there you can see that she can spend counters from the Phoenix Force for wild resources. She has 3 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 defense. But we're going to play Yaw and Roll. And I'm going to overpay with the Power of Justice. It says only if you can only use it if you are aerial, but we are aerial because we just played that Phoenix Suit, and it removes 3 threat from a scheme. And you know what? I think that's not the one I wanted to play. I want to play instead For Justice, because For Justice removes 3 threat unless you paid with a mental resource, in which case it removes 4. So we don't need to be aerial. And the Power of Justice makes 2 wild resources for a Justice card, so this fits the bill, and we can remove all 4 threat from Find the Prisoners. And when we do, let's take a look. It says when defeated, shuffle the top card of the Future Past deck into the encounter deck, flip this card, and reveal Rescue Captives. So let's get our die back out. These are the remaining 3 cards from Future Past that aren't shuffled in yet. On a 13, that's going to be this card here, the Nano Sentinel Tech. You don't need to look at that unless it comes up. So let me shuffle that in. And I don't know what it does either, because I'm not reading them. I'm just looking at the names and art. Okay, and then this card flips over and becomes Rescue Captives, an environment. After you defeat a Sentinel minion, spend a resource, choose a face-down ally under this card, and put it into play under your control. So they don't even have to take their own ally. Storm started in the Phoenix deck, and Wolverine started in the Colossus deck. I think I will have Jubilee. We're going to use her action, so I'm spending the last card from Phoenix's hand, which is an energy resource, to deal 2 damage to an enemy, which will be the Sentinel Mark II, which only has 2 hit points. So it is defeated, and now Phoenix can spend 1 resource for Rescue Captives to rescue a captive, and we'll tap into the Phoenix Force for that. I think I will grab Storm and put her out, and she has 2 thwart and 2 attack, and when she thwarts a scheme, we can also move 2 threat from it to another scheme. But I don't think we need that. We'll just go ahead and thwart for 2 off of the main scheme, which started with 1 per player. And if it ever gets up to 12, which is 6 per player, it will advance to the second phase of the scheme. Storm takes 1 consequential damage for that. We can still attack with Magneto, which I think I will. Unfortunately, he's not defeating this Sentinel, but we can attack the Sentinel that is in front of Colossus. It's just that he's going to take that consequential damage onto Magneto. And we can still use Phoenix, and there's no 3 damage there from Magneto, and there's no more scheme or threat to remove with Phoenix's high scheme value or thwart value. May as well deal 1 damage, which is just going to be prevented by Tough. It's an efficient way to get rid of Tough, but not super exciting. And I think that is it for Phoenix. We'll go over to Peter Rasputin here. Go ahead and play Titanium Muscles, just 2 cost upgrade. He gets +1 attack, and we can make a strength resource for each Tough status on him. So I'm going to pay for that with strength, which makes 2 resources. Also going to play Organic Steel, and it has 2 uses. After a Tough status card is discarded from him, exhaust this card, remove a steel counter, and gain Tough back. So we'll put that into play somewhere to pay for that with these 2 cards, and we'll change into hero form where he has 2 attack, but now he has 3 because of the titanium muscles. And steel skin means when he changed into hero form, he gets tough right away, and he can have an extra tough card on him. Normally you can only be tough once, but he can be double tough. And now that he has 3 attack, I'm going to use that to have him use his basic attack action against the Sentinel Mark 6, which will finish it off. And that means he can spend 1 resource to rescue the other captive. Maybe I need to hold off on that. Let's put a pin in that and see if we can do this better. I'm going to play Bulletproof Protector, which says discard a tough status card from your hero and choose to get 2 tough statuses or ready your hero. So I'm going to choose to get 2 tough status cards. So we have to spend 1 tough in order to get 2 tough. And I just realized this does mess up my plans. I was thinking Colossus could have as much tough as he wanted, but he can actually only have 2. Normally you can only have 1, but Colossus says he can have 1 additional. That's too bad, because I was thinking I could use Organic Steel since we just spent a tough status, we lost 1, in order to spend 1 of those counters and get tough back, and then we'd have a total of 3, and then Titanium Muscles would make 3 resources. And I could play the X-Jet and then use the X-Jet's resource that it gives us to pay for the captives. Looks like that doesn't work because Colossus can only be 2 times tough. So we'll save that counter there. I wonder if that changes anything. I think that's just going to strand the X-Jet in my hand, unfortunately, but I'm going to do everything else. So do I even want to bother being double tough? Yeah, I guess there's nothing I could do that's particularly better than that. Now Titanium Muscles does make 2 resources, but we're only going to use 1 of them because I'm going to go ahead and attack the Sentinel and defeat it, and then spend 1 of those to rescue the other captive, which will be Wolverine. And then technically this environment is still out. I don't know if it does anything anymore though, so I'm going to move it over here. And Wolverine's attacks gain piercing, which means they slice right through tough. So it doesn't really matter that Phoenix did that 1 damage because we would have just ignored the tough anyway. But we'll go ahead and attack with Wolverine. He takes 1 consequential damage and deals 3 to Master Mold, putting him down to 21. And with that, we'll end the turn. So each of our heroes has a hand size of 5 in hero form. Well, actually, Colossus's is 4. Wow. I didn't realize it was that small. It makes me feel even worse for stranding this X-Jet, but he gets 3 more cards to fill up his hand. Phoenix will get 5. And remember, we can ready all our stuff and do the villain phase, which starts with the Sentinel Factory gets 1 threat per player, up to 2 again. Master Mold will attack Phoenix for 2 plus a boost. I think I'll just let her take it. So it'll be 2 damage plus a boost of 1, which is 3, puts her down to 6. And then an attack against Colossus, we'll also let him take it. So an attack of 2 plus 2, which is 4, but it's blocked by tough. And then I will spend 1 from Organic Steel so that he gets that tough back. Then we get encounter cards, 1 for Phoenix and 1 for Colossus. And Phoenix's is Assault. Villain attacks you. That's a lot of attacks. I don't know if there are 4 boost cards in the deck, but if we happen to hit one, that would just be the end of her. I guess I'm going to defend with Colossus this time. So that'll be 2 damage plus a boost of nothing, but the villain gets tough again. And that's due to the little star at the bottom, star instead of a boost icon, and then that refers to this boost ability, which makes him tough. So Colossus loses tough, but I'm going to use Organic Steel again and give it back, but that is both uses off Organic Steel, so that's discarded. And Assault is resolved, and then against Colossus we get Advance, the villain schemes. So back to this text here. When Master Mold schemes against you, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a Sentinel is discarded, put into play, engage with you. Do not give Master Mold a boost. So he's just going to scheme for his base scheme value, which is 1. So that'll put this up to 3. And we need to discard until we find a Sentinel. Nope. Yep. All right, so we get Sentinel Mark 3. More tough. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the energy barrier attachment and attach it to this minion. So he comes out with 3 health, 2 scheme, 3 attack, and an energy barrier, which is going to give him 2 more attack. It would get tough, but it's already a tough. After it attacks, it gets tough again. So this is a tough enemy to deal with, but it doesn't give any health, so it'll actually be kind of easy for Wolverine to slice through that because of his piercing. So that's the end of Advance and the end of the villain phase, which means we end the round. First player passes to Colossus, which means so do Magneto and Jubilee. Colossus is still exhausted from defending, but now it is his turn. And we may as well have Wolverine attack it, so it ignores the tough. He attacks for 3. Oh, and I forgot. So Wolverine actually has 2 consequential damage. So he should have taken 2. However, he also has the ability that at the start of our turn, he heals 1. So this is now correct. But now as he attacks again, he should take 2 more damage. And he has 4 health, so 1 health remaining. And that will finish Sentinel Mark III, quick and easy. And then what else are we going to do? So I guess I'm going to use titanium muscles to make 2 strength resources. And I think I just have to overpay with this genius for 4 in order to play a helicarrier. Can be exhausted to make the cost of the next card someone plays by 1. So I'll bring that out. Running out of room. That up here. And then I will use that to make his next card cost 1 less. We're going to play the X-Jet, which makes a wild resource for any X-Men character. And cost 2 because of helicarrier. We'll also pay with energy to make for 2 of that. Now we have tons of resources. And we can give one of those resources to Phoenix unless we want to use it to power up Jubilee. But I think I'm just going to use Jubilee to attack for 1 normally without spending the resource. Does that even make sense? Man, Phoenix's turn is all thwart removal or thwarting. So I think it doesn't matter that we're giving up a damage or a resource. I'm just going to use the X-Jet to pay for Jubilee to deal 2, but she doesn't take consequential damage. The 2 is reduced to 0 because of the tough, and then Magneto can attack for 3. He does take another consequential damage. That puts Master Bolt down to 18. And I think that's all Colossus can do. So we go over to Phoenix, and she has threat removal, and threat removal. And then a couple of resource cards. So guess I'll play Telepathic Trickery, remove 4 threat from his scheme. If you have the Unleashed trait, stun and confuse them. We're not unleashed, but we can remove this threat. And even if we were unleashed, he can't be stunned or confused because he is stalwart. So I'm going to pay for that, I guess, just with these 2 cards. I mean, I could have just thwarted with her anyway, but I guess I'm just going to attack with her and Storm. So Storm takes 1 consequential. That's 1, 2, 3 damage, putting him down to 15. And not super thrilled. I'm saving these 2 cards. I'll definitely save the energy. I don't know if I want to bother saving for Justice. I think I am actually going to also change into Alter Ego form. And actually, you know what? Instead of attacking for 1, let's recover. So instead, I'm going to use this basic hero power to recover for 3 and undo that attack, putting her back up to 9. And her ability says after she recovers, she also gets 1 Phoenix Force back. Well, I kind of just want to be unleashed, but I'll take it while I can get it. That'll be all we can do. So I'm going to end our turn. I am going to discard this for Justice because I think our deck is full of threat removal and we don't even need it right now. So just see what else we can draw. End the turn. Now she gets 6 cards. Colossus is still at 4 hand size, but he's got some resources built up at least. All right, the main scheme gets 2 threat. Master Mold will attack Colossus, which I think is fine. He's attacking for 2 plus a boost of 2, which is 4, but it's all blocked by tough. And then he will scheme against Jean Grey because he's in Alter Ego form. So we add 1 more threat, no boost, but we will bring out a Sentinel. Ooh, and Nimrod is actually a Sentinel. Wow. So here is a Future Past card for the first time. He's also stalwart, can't be stunned or confused. Victory 1, which means if we defeat him, he's removed from the game rather than going into the discard pile. And we would get a victory point, which this campaign doesn't use, but hey, there you go. He can't take more than 3 damage each phase. He has 9 hit points with a big old 3 attack and 2 scheme. So that goes out in front of Jean Grey. And then we get an encounter card for Colossus and 1 for Jean. Colossus is an energy barrier attached to a Sentinel. Oh no. Okay, so Nimrod's attack is going to go up by 2. And he becomes tough right away. All right, we're going to need Wolverine for that. But he's actually almost done. So that's not great. So tough on Nimrod. And then Jean Grey gets an unit upgrade attached to a Sentinel minion. Gets +2 hit points and retaliate 1. +1 scheme, +1 attack. This is scary. Nimrod is very dangerous now. First player token goes back to Jean along with Magneto and Jubilee. What can we do about that? Nimrod now hits for 6, and he can't take more than 3 damage per phase, and he has 11 hit points. Just to recap. Oh, after every time he attacks, he gets tough again, so that's good. He's also an elite minion, which means he cannot be mind controlled. Oh, he also has guard because he's Sentinel, and Master Mold is guarded by Sentinels, so he can't attack Master Mold with Phoenix or any of her stuff either. Let's make this a little more interesting. I'm going to have Jean Grey play Symbiote Suit. So now she's going to be Symbiote Phoenix. She gets +1 to each of her basic powers, +1 hand size, +10 hit points, up to 19 hit points. And we have this little symbol here, which means we get an extra encounter card each round. Just, a little bit of danger mixed in case this Nimrod wasn't bad enough. I'll put this out. I'm going to switch to hero form. I do need to pay for that. I think I will have Phoenix or Jubilee attack Nimrod just basic style to knock off Tough. Oh, but he has Retaliate too from the unit upgrade. So maybe not. Might not want to throw Jubilee under the bus. Yeah, maybe I just don't do anything there. Just thwart with Phoenix for 3 to take all this off. Keeping that clear at least. And just don't use the allies. All I did is give myself an extra encounter card. Although technically that was a thwart for 4, but there's only 3 to remove. Then for Colossus, we're going to play Marvel Boy. Oh, and the start of the turn, Wolverine heals 1. I'm thinking I might not use him this turn. That way he doesn't kill himself. Marvel Boy costs 2. Can reduce that to 1 with Helicarrier. And then I guess pay with this. And when Marvel Boy attacks for 2, we can spend a strength resource to give the attack piercing and range. So piercing will ignore Tough and ranged will ignore Retaliate. So we're definitely going to do that. I'll use the Titanium Muscles for 1 strength resource as we attack with him against Nimrod. And that'll take 1 consequential damage, but we ignore the piercing, ignores Tough, and ranged means Marvel Boy doesn't take 1 damage from Retaliate. He's attacking for only 2, however. But we can only do 3 per phase, and we have to do 11. So because of the unit upgrade, we're going to have to do a 2 at some point. Now, Nimrod is guarding Master Mold for Phoenix, but not for Colossus. So Colossus can still attack Master Mold directly, and I think we will using this Steel Fist, which does 5 damage. We can spend a Tough to also stun and confuse, but that won't help because Master Mold is Stalwart. So pay with 1, and then the X-Jet for the other to do 5 damage, putting Master Mold down to 11. We're just going to have to accept this Nimrod for a few rounds. And we can still use a Colossus, so we'll attack for 3 with Colossus, putting Master Mold down to 8, making progress. Then we'll end the turn, or should I go to Alter Ego with Colossus? I think I will. So let's switch to Peter Rasputin. He says, after we change this form, we can shuffle a Colossus card from our discard pile into our deck. So what Colossus card do we want back? I think we're supposed to be getting Organic Steel back. I kind of want this Made of Rage, which I mulliganed, which gives +6 attack. Just kind of power Master Mold down. So yeah, I'm going to take a Made of Rage and then continue ending my turn. So one thing that's nice about going to Alter Ego with Colossus is he has a hand size of 6 in Alter Ego, which is normal. His hand size in hero form is only 4, which is less normal. So it's kind of low. So we do have some resource generators to make up for that a bit, but it'd be nice to have a full hand of 6. And Phoenix is going to have a hand size of 6, even though she's in Alter Ego or in hero form because of her symbiote suit. So you can't forget to take an extra encounter card for that as well. All right, 2 threat on the main scheme. Attack against Phoenix for 2. We'll take it. So 2 plus a boost from Master Mold of 2 is 4, putting her down to 15, thanks to the symbiote suit. Nimrod straight up is attacking for 6, however, and I think we'll have Storm block that one. So thank you, Storm. Sorry and goodbye. Scheme against Colossus. It's going to be 1 plus a Sentinel. Mark 6 has 6 hit points, 2 scheme to attack, and quick strike, which means it attacks right away, except for that he is in Alter Ego form, so it does not attack right away. Get an encounter card for Phoenix, and then 1 for Colossus in the queue here. Bastion's Machinations. So here's another future past card. Side scheme, Bastion manipulates current events to bring about the future from which he came. Victory 1. When revealed, each player places the top 9 cards of their deck face down under here. Well, that's weird. What if I defeat that side scheme? Then what happens to these cards? All right, 9 for Phoenix. 9 for Colossus. But yeah, it doesn't say if I defeat this, where do those cards go? But in the meanwhile, it's only got 6 threat on it, and it's going to give a boost icon every time Master Mold activates. Then for Colossus, it's targeted for elimination, attached to your identity. If a copy of targeted for elimination is not attached to you, otherwise this card gains surge. While you're engaged with a Sentinel, you cannot change from hero to alter ego, but in alter ego form, you can exhaust to discard this. So Colossus cannot change from Colossus to Peter if there's a Sentinel engaged with him, but it doesn't affect him right now, which is nice. So first player goes back to him, and we pass Jubilee and Magneto over. Now he's got all the allies. We do still want to get rid of Nimrod. We can only do 3 damage per turn, though. And I guess I shouldn't get too far because I did forget my 3rd encounter card. So this would go back to whoever was first, which is Phoenix. We just have to pretend we're still in that phase. The villain schemes. All right, so against Phoenix, that is another scheme, which means another Sentinel coming to her, which is a Mark 5. Targeted for elimination is attached to you. It attacks you even if you're alter ego. Otherwise, search for targeted elimination and reveal it. So that is the cost of being a symbiote Phoenix. Now she's being hunted by Sentinels. Let's see how many of these Sentinels we can destroy. We're going to change into Colossus form, which means we get tough. So now we have 2 tough. And when we change forms, we can play surprise attack. If we play with strength, it does 4 damage. I think I'm going to pay with the X-Jet for that. And that's going to do 4. I don't know if we need that extra damage, but I think this is going to be fine either way. So I'm going to hit the Sentinel Mark 4, or Mark 5 rather. And then I think we're going to have Magneto overkill it to finish it off. Magneto heals a damage because he's finishing off a Sentinel minion. So he doesn't increase his damage amount. Wolverine should have healed 1, which is nice. And I think Wolverine is going to attack Nimrod. Oh, Nimrod should have gotten tough again after he activated, but we are piercing that. So we're just going to ignore it and deal 3. And then Wolverine takes 2 consequential damage, going back up to 3 out of 4. I'm going to use Titanium Muscles to make 2 strength resources because we have 2 tough status cards. And we're going to play Organic Steel again so we can recoup our toughs. So we get 2 on there. Then I'm going to use Helicarrier, so my next card costs 1 less. And I'm going to play Deft Focus, which exhausts for 1 cost reduction on a superpower card. So we'll go ahead and play that and immediately use it. No, we're not immediately using it. We're going to save that. I'm going to attack. Did I miscount? I might have wanted to use Marvel Boy instead of Wolverine on Nimrod. It'll only be 2 damage though, instead of 3. But no, I think we're okay. Just trying to figure out how we want to beat this Sentinel Mark 6. You know what? I'm just going to attack with Colossus for 3 against the Sentinel Mark 6. Then I'm going to play Limitless Stamina. So this is the superpower that we're going to reduce the cost of with Deft Focus, which readies Colossus. He has at least 14 printed hit points and current hit points. Now he's free to attack again. And when he does, we're going to play Made of Rage, which costs 0. I have to discard Tough to add 6. And with Overkill, which means excess damage to the target will go over to the villain. So you have to spend Tough for that, but instead we'll spend Organic Steel and get Tough back. We're attacking for 9 against the Sentinel Mark 6, but only 3 of it is necessary to finish it off. So the other 6 will overkill onto Master Mold and put him down to 2. Now I'm thinking it might just be better to leave him at 2, because if we finish him off, he'll be a little bit stronger going into the next round. The last card in Colossus's hand is this Honorary X-Men, which we can give X-Men to another character along with 1 hit point. I was thinking about doing Marvel Boy, but now I'm thinking about doing Wolverine, because we have to kind of take a turn off from using him to let him heal up so that he doesn't attack and kill himself. But I'm wondering, this would kind of give him an extra use, like an extra turn that we don't have to give up. And every turn that Nimrod's around is dangerous, so being able to like do sequential Wolverine attacks might be worth it just to give him this 1 extra hit point. So I'm going to do that. Marvel Boy is okay. He only has 1 hit point left, which makes him a good blocker. So let's leave that as it is. And I think I'm going to thwart with Jubilee for 1. So let's take 1 off the Sentinel factory. And then we can go over to Phoenix. She has a lot of cards, but not a lot to do. She can tap into the Phoenix Force for 1, but Colossus spent a ton of all his resources, so he doesn't have anything left to share. So I'm going to play Snow Guard for Phoenix. She costs 4, so I'm going to pay most of her hand for that. I've been saving this Mind Control, but I don't know if I'm going to bother, I guess. I don't like saving things, and I kind of want to use my resources this turn, so That's gone. We can't mind control Nimrod because he's elite. And for Snow Guard, I get to choose one of 3 animal forms for her to turn into. We have to use our imagination because they don't tell us what those animal forms are. Something from the North Pole area. But I'm going to choose the 3rd one, which gives her +5 hit points and retaliate 1. So now she has 8 hit points and retaliate. And then I'm going to spend a Phoenix Force tap in there to play Phoenix Firebird, choosing the first option to remove a power counter and ready Phoenix. So I should actually use her first, thwart for 4, and I'm going to thwart off of this. Then I'm going to ready her and do it again. So I'm going to finish this off. Again, I don't know what, this does have victory 1, so it's out of the game. But I don't know if we're supposed to get these cards back or what. But I have to remove another counter for the effect of Phoenix Firebird. All right, so I just looked up Bastion's Machinations, and apparently whenever a card leaves play that had cards underneath it, those cards automatically go to the appropriate discard pile. So these are going to come back to the appropriate discard piles. And over here for Colossus, we get these. So both of their signature allies got machinated. And our hero phase, Colossus is back to only 4 hand size. And Phoenix has 6, thanks to the symbiote suit. All right, so onto the villain phase. Sentinel Factory will get 2 more threat. And then Master Mold will attack Colossus. So we'll let him hit for 2 plus a boost of 2, just 4, but he's tough. And then he'll attack Phoenix, and I think we're going to block that. No, she has symbiote suit hit points. So 2 plus 2 is 4. That'll put her down to 11. And then Nimrod is attacking for 6. And in that case, I think we will block with Snow Guard. She has 8 points in whatever form she's in, maybe a boar or a polar bear or something. Polar bears are pretty ferocious. They don't just sit back and get hit. But we are retaliating for 1, and Nimrod can only take 3 damage per phase, but we are now in the villain phase, so we can hit him back. We'll see if that matters. He then becomes tough after he activates, and he hits Snow Guard for 6. But she has 8 hit points. And we may as well use Colossus, use the organic steel to get that tough back. And that means that is out of uses. All right, then we get encounter cards. This time it's going to be 2 for Colossus and 1 for Phoenix. Get the 3rd one because of the symbiote suit. So first up for Colossus is a Sentinel Mark III. It's tough and it gets the energy barrier again. I think I'm okay with that. This other card is a stun beam, which goes onto the Sentinel. Gives it +1 more attack, and after it attacks and damages a character, stun that character. I think that's fine too, because we're going to be able to slice right through that with Wolverine if we want to. Card for Phoenix is Insert Virus Program. The side scheme, if you can insert a computer virus into Master Mold's mainframe, you can weaken it from the inside. So it has Hinder 2, so it's going to start with 6 threat as victory. When defeated, deal 2 damage to each Sentinel enemy. Can put some damage on Nimrod that way, but still can only take 3 per phase. All right, then first player goes over to Phoenix along with Jubilee and Magneto. Let's see what we can do. I think first I'm going to play Skilled Investigator, which is an upgrade that'll let her draw extra cards when side schemes are defeated. And then we'll go ahead and defeat a side scheme. I'm going to thwart for 3 off of the virus program. And then I'm going to use Surprise, which was our campaign card for being a defender. And we get to, after we thwart, remove 3 threat from among schemes, and we'll just finish it off. We also get to confuse an enemy, but Master Mold and Nimrod are both stalwart, and Sentinel Mark III, I mean, I guess we can confuse it, but I'm about to kill it, so I'm not even going to bother. This is out. It has victory 1, so it's out of the game. And when defeated, deal 2 damage to each Sentinel, so both of these toughs come off, which is not super exciting. It also hits Master Mold for 2, so that'll put him down to 0, and we'll move on to phase 2, which will be the last phase. He is tough, so we'll give him tough. Looks like his ability is the same regarding scheming, but now he has 2 thwart and 3 attack. It's a little bit of a stat boost. Oh, and his hit points are 14 per player, so 28 to go. And that was not an attack, so this does have guard, so we cannot, Phoenix can't attack Master Mold while Nimrod is out, or any Sentinel is out, but that wasn't an attack. So there we go. Now this Surprise is out of the game. And what do we want to do next? Oh, I should have thwarted for 4 off that, but doesn't matter. Well, I guess it does matter because I get to remove 3 from among schemes in play with surprise, so I can take 1 off the Sentinel factory. Because yeah, she has 4 thwart because of symbiote suit. Oh, and of course we can draw a card with Skilled Investigator since we just defeated a side scheme. Now it's going to have Wolverine to kill the Sentinel Mark III, but now that Tough is gone, I guess Magneto can just take it out because he only has 3 hit points anyway, and he doesn't have to, or he gets to heal the consequential damage for defeating a Sentinel. So that's nice. I think I'm going to have Jubilee attack for 1. No, I'm going to spend some Phoenix Force to let her not take consequential damage and attack the Master Mold. In fact, we would not be able to attack because of the guard, but she can use this action because it's not tagged as being an attack, so the guard doesn't matter, and we'll knock off Tough. Then I'm going to play Psychic Blast, which is also not an attack, just a hero action, deal 4 damage to the villain. Sounds like an attack, but it is not an attack. If you're unleashed, deal 4 damage to each minion engaged with you. Oh, I was thinking, oh, we're not unleashed yet. We're 1 away, but we can't really spend that because we can only tap into the Phoenix Force once per phase. But I think that's still the best I can do, so I'll spend 4 for that, putting him down to 23, and spending these 2. And I'm also going to play a Telekinetic Shield, and I'm going to put that on Phoenix, so when she would take damage, it's reduced, and we track up how much damage has been taken, and when 5 or more has been prevented, we lose the shield. So it could potentially be 2 Master Mold attacks. I'm going to shield up Phoenix and spend these 2 for that, which is the rest of her hand. We did not hit Nimrod yet, so we do want to get at least 2 damage onto Nimrod this round. You know what? I think Colossus is okay on resources, so I'm going to... no, I can't. I was going to say I'm going to play Telekinetic Attack instead of Psychic Blast, but Psychic Blast isn't an attack, and Telekinetic Attack is, which means we are guarded by Nimrod, and we cannot get to Master Mold with that. So I was thinking we could use the Helicarrier for the extra resource I was missing on that, but never mind. So Wolverine will heal 1. He has 5 hit points now. Nimrod has 6 damage on him out of his 11 health, because 9 plus the unit upgrade. So we need to do a 3 and a 2 to finish him off. We could still block with Marvel Boy, but between all these Toughs and this Telekinetic Shield and all the extra symbiote suit hit points, we don't really need to block with allies. Piercing and ranged is not relevant, so I may as well just use his 2 attack to hit Nimrod. But now we're actually at the point where we could probably beat Nimrod around the same time we can beat Master Mold. I think I could get Master Mold down to 5, although 5 is not dead. So I may as well divert some of that toward Nimrod. I'm not sure if defeating him takes him out of the campaign permanently, but it would be nice to not have to face him in the next scenario. My thwarting abilities are very lacking, just in case I was thinking about taking some off the Sentinel factory, because I am thinking about going to Peter Rasputin Alter Ego, which means this will go from 4 up to 6 and then 8. But he doesn't get a boost, and even if we hit an advance, that'd be another Sentinel, not another fully boosted activation, so it'd still only be 10 threat. I feel like it's almost impossible for this main scheme to advance. And my threat values are really low, so I'm just not even going to worry about it. Instead, let's use 2 strength resources from Titanium Muscles because of our 2 tough status cards to play Steel Fist, which is an attack. But we do not have Sentinels guarding in Colossus' side, so he can go directly for Master Mold, and that's going to do 5 damage. We could discard Tough to stun and confuse it, but that wouldn't do anything. So I'm not going to, just do 5 damage down to 18. And in fact, I'm going to play another one using Deft Focus to make a superpower cost less, as well as a Helicarrier, and put him down to 13. Then I think I will have Marvel Boy attack Nimrod for 2, putting him up to 8 damage, 3 more to go. Consequential damage will finish off Marvel Boy. And then Wolverine can attack for 3 directly against Nimrod, putting him down to 10. And Wolverine takes 2 consequential damage, so he's up to 4 damage with 4 health, but Honorary X-Men makes him +1 health. Then I'm going to use Colossus to attack. Oh, I was thinking about... Oh, no, it's fine. I was worried about the consequential or the retaliate damage from Nimrod, but Marvel Boy took it, and he was going to die anyway from his consequential damage. So Colossus can go for Master Mold for 3 more, putting him down to 7. Then our hand is kind of awkward. We have Armor Up and Mockingbird. I think I'm probably going to discard Mockingbird as we end our turn, but maybe keep Armor Up. Although that makes him attack instead of scheme, which means we get lose a tough instead of gain a Sentinel and a little extra threat. So that's probably worth it. Worth a card. I will switch to Alter Ego. We can shuffle in a Colossus card. And I'm just going to do Maid of Rage again. I like that. +6 and Overkill. And then end the turn. Colossus gets to draw 5 more cards because we're holding on to the armor up. So that puts him up to 6. And Phoenix just gets 6. 5 plus the symbiote. And that actually exactly empties her deck, which means we're actually going to have 4 encounter cards this round. Ready everything up. 2 more threat here. Puts it up to 6. Master Mold will attack Phoenix and she'll take it with her telekinetic shield. So 3 damage plus 1. Perfect. So that's 4 damage, which means the shield is not broken and it can still block a full other source of damage, or actually just attacks. Nimrod is also attacking for 6. So she could just take that and let it hit the shield, or I could just do what I was planning, which was have Snow Guard jump in the way. Yeah, she just has 2 hit points left and she doesn't have any attack or thwart value. So let's let Snow Guard block that one. Unfortunately, I don't think Retaliate works since she got defeated by the attack. And then Master Mold would activate against Colossus. But we're going to go ahead and play Armor Up as a reaction or an interrupt. When he activates, change to hero form. So now he should attack instead of scheming. And that cost us this card out of our hand, but I think that's fine. So he's going to attack for 3 plus 1 is 4, but we're tough, so don't take any damage. Then Phoenix gets dealt an encounter card. Colossus gets dealt an encounter card. And because of Symbiote Suit, we get dealt another one, which means the encounter deck is empty and we get a +1 permanent acceleration counter, and the deck is reshuffled. All right, 3 for Phoenix. First up is Operation Zero Tolerance. So in the previous scenario, this was permanent. This says after an enemy attacks and defeats an ally, place that ally face down under the scheme. If there are X face down cards under the scheme, the players lose the game. X is 3 more than the number of players. That's going to have 6 threat on it. So 5 allies or cards get under here, we lose. But we can get rid of that with 6 threat removal. Next up is Sentinel Mark 8. After this minion engages you, attach the topmost Sentinel attachment from the discard pile. Well, there's no discard pile because we just got rid of it. But that is a big Sentinel. 3 scheme, 3 attack, and 8 health. And then the last one for Phoenix is another insert virus program. So another opportunity to deal 2 damage to every Sentinel. And I forgot, after Nimrod activated, he should have become tough again. And one for Colossus is Sentinel Mark 5. So if targeted for elimination is attached to your identity, he attacks you immediately. And it is. We weren't affected by it because we didn't have any Sentinels engaged with us, but it is now going to attack us right away for 3. Oh, and when I switched to this form, I should have gotten tough. So I actually should have 2. And I think I'm going to let that attack for 3 hit us and break the tough. So yeah, we should have become tough when we used Armor Up and switched forms. So I think I'm okay with that. And first player should be to Colossus now. So I feel like it's going to be relatively trivial to win from this point. We just have some Sentinels to go through. But I think I'm going to let Wolverine go down swinging. The Moment of Glory. He's going to do 3 damage with piercing to Nimrod, doing the 9th, 10th, and 11th point of damage, slicing through the tough, and finishing off Nimrod. So he is, with his Victory 1 ability, out of the game. These will go to the discard pile. And Wolverine takes 2 consequential damage, which means he is also done. We're going to need to do this damage. The insert virus program is nice. First up, I think I'm going to have Colossus play Drop Kick. Deals 4 damage to an enemy if you paid it using only strength. Oh, only strength. Well, we're going to use Helicarry to reduce it. So now we only have to pay 2, which means we only have to pay 2 strength. I don't really have strength in my hand. Oh, you know what? We're about to end the game, so we can use Warcry. Makes 2 wild resources for an attack or defense event gain tough. So there you go. We'll just spend this to pay for the rest of that cost. We also get to be tough again, and that's going to deal 4 damage. We'll do 4 to Sentinel Mark 8. It's going to get my second tough status through Hard Knocks. Deal 4 damage to an enemy, and if it's defeated, gain tough. But now I have 2 tough, so I can pay with Titanium Muscles and I guess the X-Jet. Well, X-Jet makes it for anybody. I'll just pay with this card. So we're mostly playing red, but this is one of our green cards we added for being a brawler. But that'll finish off Sentinel Mark 8, and we get tough, but we already have 2, so we can't have it again. Then he will attack Sentinel Mark 5 and play Made of Rage, which means we add 6 and overkill, so that's 9. Overkill means 5 goes to here, the other 4 goes over to Master Mold, putting him down to 3. I think that's it for Colossus. We still have Peter's Studio, but no reason playing it now. Let's just go over to Phoenix. I wonder if we need to bother doing any side schemes. And actually, I read the rules for the ending this scenario, and there's no bonuses to be gained for completing those. So the only really bonus we get, we've already completed, and other than that would just be to make sure Jubilee stays around. So I'll definitely do that. Play Cannonball just because he's in our deck. I happen to draw him, pay with Genius. I'll play Rise from the Ashes in part just because I want to spend this last Phoenix Force along with a couple other cards in order to change Phoenix Force from Restrained to Unleashed. Now we have -2 Thwart, +2 Attack. Because of the Phoenix suit, instead of Steady, we have Retaliate, which is nice with all these Symbiote hit points, but the game's about to end. And with our 3 attack, Symbiote suit, Unleashed Phoenix can attack Master Mold for 3 damage, putting him down to 0. So Phoenix and Colossus were successful. We kept Jubilee around. Magneto's okay too. I think we'll be seeing him again, but maybe not as an ally. So you can check out the deck lists that inspired these. I made some minor changes, especially doing like the role building. But yeah, if you want to see the Phoenix and Colossus decks for the most part, I've linked to the creators' pages in the description. But otherwise, stay tuned for the 4th scenario in the storyline. Thanks for watching. Subscribe so we can get more subscribers, and bye.